And now to the damage being done to our nation by industrial inaction. The nurses are on strike today and were due to continue tomorrow, if not for their failure in basic arithmetic. The High Court struck them down for the other day for intending to strike one day past their 6-month mandate. But the teachers will be going on strike tomorrow. What's more is that over the weekend, the Teachers' Union announced their intentions for a coordinated nationwide strike this autumn, which could see roughly 400,000 teachers disrupting our children's education. But do the teachers have it as tough as the unions are claiming? I'm delighted to be joined here today by Callum Robertson, who thinks that the teachers are right to be going on strike. Callum, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It worries me that after all that happened with the lockdown and the loss of education, that teachers should even be thinking of going on strike under these circumstances. It just seems so selfish.
It worries me that schools in your constituency are due to lose £3.5 million next year, meaning that teachers and students will be facing ever harder conditions.
But the teachers are relatively well paid. That their starting salary is £28,000. They start on a salary that's higher than somebody on accountancy, advertising, architecture, consultancy, customer services, on and on. It's not that tough for teachers.
These strikes are not just about teachers, they're about school workers, which include support staff, some of whom are on about £14,000 a year. I'm sure you'd agree that's a criminally low wage.
Well, it depends if you're working full-time, but
they are
£14,000 for full-time would seem low.
Yes,
but these are the teachers who are going on strike. You can't go on strike on behalf of other people. You can only go on strike for yourself. So they are about...
You can refuse to cross a picket line under trade union legislation, meaning support staff can go on strike. So just to be factually correct, I think it's important.
Yes, you can refuse to cross a picket line, yes. But they've voted to go on strike themselves. The NEU has voted to go on strike. Mm-hmm. So it's the teachers rather than support workers that are the problem.
So you define it as a problem. I define it as using the IFS, which I think we can both agree is a perfectly fair barometer of actual...
Well, I don't think it's particularly impartial as it happens, but that's a
true. It does sort of back your government quite often. £6,600 a year have been lost annually by experienced teachers since 2010.
But nobody's actually lost that, have they? That teachers have been getting grade increments. So this is a theoretical figure over a teacher who doesn't actually exist as an individual.
No, they do. Any teacher on M6 back in 2010 who's still on M6 now, which is the top grade for teaching.
But most teachers actually get grade improvements. And so you've had increases in teachers' salaries because they've been promoted. So you can find one or two.
I can see where you're coming from.
But that actually most teachers get year in, year out increments as they get promoted, as they become more experienced teachers.
I can see how you'd come to that conclusion. So the teacher basically pay scales you start on M1, which is £28,000 for those outside London, moving up to M6.
Which is £38,809. That's not a bad salary.
For a highly experienced teacher. Now, that is capped off for M6 teachers by the government and by schools. If you'll let me finish, it's capped off, which means that actually you could have a teacher with 20 years' experience, an excellent practitioner in the classroom, imparting knowledge onto students, with students getting fantastic outcomes who's not eligible for a pay rise.
But actually, the average classroom teacher salary is above M6. It's £39,000. So that people are clearly getting other increments. The average leadership teacher salary is £57,000. So there are promotions for teachers that mean they are pretty well paid.
There are options to take promotion, but what happens if you want to stay in the classroom as an excellent practitioner?
Well, that's why I say that the teacher salary in the classroom is higher than M6, so they don't get stuck at M6, because that's the average. That includes all the M1s to M5 who are getting these lower pays.
That's an average, so obviously...
Of classroom teachers. So you were saying they got stuck at M6, but they don't.
Your government is a fan of maths until 18, and I do genuinely support them on that. Now, your maths at 18 and the laws of averages will tell you that actually if you take many people who are above... in leadership
But this is classroom teachers,
right.
So...
Just out of interest, how do you define a classroom teacher?
Your figures.
How do you define a classroom teacher?
Well, classroom teacher is obvious, somebody who's teaching in the classroom. So this is...
Right, but head teachers teaching in the classroom?
Very rarely.
No,
most
the head teacher of my school teaches...
But if we want to come on to head teachers...
Jacob, just to correct you, that's factually inaccurate.
If we want to
head teachers in the UK teach on average about 20% in the classroom.
If we go to head teachers, our head teachers, other than Luxembourg, are the highest paid in Europe.
Do you not want well-paid people teaching us?
I don't want them going on strike when they're well-paid. Just
head teachers aren't going on strike.
Well, they're voting for it, actually. That's just been announced.
they're voting for industrial action.
Yeah, well, industrial inaction, because it's clearly not action, is it? Striking.
Of going on strike.
Idleness.
Leaving aside the slightly superfluous point, Jacob.
But
I think it's really important.
They are the highest paid other than Luxembourg. So why are they even voting to go on strike?
So they are under even legislation, such as minimum service legislation, allows them to ballot for industrial action. Now, surely a man such as yourself would not wish to deny people their basic civil rights to go on strike.
It's a completely different question. Just because somebody's allowed to do something doesn't mean it's right to do something.
You'll have to expand slightly on that.
Well, you're saying they've got the right to. Nobody's denying they've got the right to.
Your government's tried to with the minimum service bill.
What we're debating is whether it is right for them to do it. And I'm saying it's absolutely wrong for well-paid headmasters and mistresses to go on strike. Best paid other than in Luxembourg.
Now, head teachers are well remunerated for their roles. Yes.
Yeah. So why even thinking about going on strike? Is it actually this Lessons in Organisation that's come out, co-written by David Wilson, General Secretary of the National Education Union, endorsement from the General Secretary of the National Education Union, that actually says workers through their unions must engage in mass extra-parliamentary political struggle. It's not actually about pay. It's about trying to stop the democratic forms of our government working properly.
No, it's about pay.
So how do you defend this book?
I'm not here to defend that book.
But that's by the National Education Union that is leading the strikes.
I'm here because I work hard and my colleagues work hard and we want a fair pay rise that is not undermined by the inflation that your government keeps perpetuating.
What do you say to David Wilson, who in this book has called for to explicitly confront the corrosive nature of neoliberal ideology? Is that what teachers are going on strike for?
No, as I've just said for the third time, Jacob.
But it's the NEU which is leading these strikes. And has voted for strikes.
He is entitled to that opinion.
Well, it's supported by the General Secretary, Kevin Courtney.
He's entitled to that opinion. I have no issue with him having that opinion. I happen not to agree with that. What I would like is a fair settlement for teachers, where teachers aren't losing £6,600 a year.
But this is a politically motivated strike, because actually we know we've established teachers are pretty well paid. Head teachers very well paid.
Right, but head teachers aren't on strike at the moment.
But they're having a vote for it.
Yeah, which might not succeed.
You know, that is true, but they shouldn't even be voting for strike when they're so well paid. It doesn't just seem greedy. If you're getting up to £150,000 a year to be voting to go on strike, it's pretty greedy, isn't it?
If you look at the roles of head teachers on £150,000 a year, they are in charge of well more than one educational establishment.
Well, it seems to me if you've got £150,000, you shouldn't be going on strike. But thank you, Callum.